everyone wants an edge. How can I find deals faster? How can I get deals that no one knows about? How can I get off market properties? How can I negotiate faster? And so we're creating tools to answer those questions and to solve those problems for real estate investors.
Welcome to the Las Vegas IT Podcast, and today I have the pleasure of speaking to Hollis. I'm super excited to get to know him a little bit more today. Hollis is with 24 Tech Systems. Hollis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, I'm super excited. I get to know you a little bit about who you are. So how did you get started in the IT industry?
Great question. So it started when I was about 5 years old. We got our first Windows 95 PC. Most people probably don't even know what a PC is anymore, but the big giant block machine with the monitor that was, 30 pounds. And I've always been really intrigued with understanding how things work. So we got that computer and I took it apart completely. And I got in big, big, big trouble for that, obviously. I did put it back together successfully, though. I put it back together and it worked. But that's really where my beginning started, is trying to understand how things worked on the inside. How were these words appearing on the screen? I remember playing Sega Genesis and wanting to know, why is it that when I press A, Sonic jumps? You know what I mean? So I taught myself how to create computer games in ActionScript way back when, if anybody remembers that. And from there, my journey of kind of self-education just continued and continued. I developed apps in the early Google Play Store, started designing websites, learning as many different programming languages as I could for all different intents and purposes. And eventually kind of blossomed into, running my own small software company now.
Understood. And I guess what caused you to want to start your own IT organization?
Great question. I got laid off by a company in 2020. So I got laid off in 2023. They realized that they laid me off too quickly, rehired me, and then laid me off again a few months later. And after that, I basically said, you know what? I think I have the skill set. I know that there's a field that I can serve. There's a group of people that I can serve with my skills. And so I'm going to try to not work for anyone who can fire me and hire me at will anymore. And so I started my own little shop.
No, and that's pretty amazing. I feel like so many entrepreneurs, that's how they got their start, is something had to happen for them to decide where they should go into. And then could you just kind of tell us a little bit more about your organization?
Yeah, for sure. So we provide AI and automated solutions for real estate private equity companies. Big words, but basically when you see an apartment building, maybe there's like a big apartment building in your neighborhood. One person doesn't own that building. A group of people own that building, and they pool their money together in order to buy and operate that building and rent it out and, make money from it. In order to create those pools of people, you have to be able to find groups of like-minded people that are all who are willing and able to contribute anywhere between, $25,000 to $500,000 per each in order to buy these buildings, because these buildings cost, tens of millions of dollars. So what we do is help the private equity companies that are kind of organize these purchases to go out and find those investors who want to invest and purchase those buildings. And so we use AI to kind of drive that technology all the way from, running maybe ads off on Facebook or Meta or LinkedIn to get interest, all the way to nurturing those relationships through follow-up, helping people sign their legal documents to become investors, validating who they are through different regulations that we have to follow and things like that. So we use AI and automated tools to drive that entire, what's called investor relations and investor acquisitions process in real estate private equity.
No, and that's a really cool an audience type that I've actually, don't hear often. Like, how did you decide that was the direction you wanted to go?
Great question. So I've gotten into real estate maybe 10 years ago on a much smaller scale. And as I tried different avenues, I realized that I wanted to be involved in some of these larger projects. And so, I joined a mastermind that focused on these larger kind of acquisitions and how to raise capital for your big real estate deals. And as I came into the market, I realized, well, these people are doing things the old way. I mean, guys literally have actual Rolodexes of phone numbers that they're flipping through and physically texting and calling people in order to raise this capital. And you could have to reach out to hundreds and hundreds of people oftentimes to close a deal. So in that small mastermind community, I started to introduce people to some of the tools that I knew about and different things I had created just for my own personal real estate private equity business, my own fund. I'd created some tools and I started to share those, and I was doing it for free for a year, just helping people, giving away things I created, building things for them for free, until one day a guy I was working with said I was taking too long to build to help him with his project. I was doing it for free, but he says, "Hey, you're taking too long," and he said, "Would you go faster if I paid you?" And I thought I probably would go faster. Yes. So literally a business was born from that moment. I started charging people for the same stuff I was doing, and kind of slowly grew into the business that it is today.
Understood. And I guess my question with that, did you find it when you did start charging after offering something for free, did you find it was difficult to either keep those same customers, or did you have to go out and find new customers?
It was not difficult to keep those same customers because I think I'd built up so much goodwill. Alex Ramosi talks about this a lot, how much you give before you ask. I had built a reputation in this real estate investor community, a small community, as someone who knew what he was doing and knew what he was talking about when it came to AI automation and different tools that people wanted to use. So once I started charging, it was kind of logical for a lot of people, like, oh, I guess you couldn't do it for free forever. But I did also have to go out and find new customers and develop different products in order to create a scalable business model, right? Because I didn't want to spend my personal time every day, like sitting down with people and doing all the clicky clacky stuff on the screen, I like to call it, that's required to, develop some of these projects.
Got it. No, that makes sense. I just asked because I know a lot of, people that's possibly watching this. They're probably, in the same area that you once were. So I think that's very important. And I actually do, I watch Alex as well. He's awesome. And
Yeah,
if you're looking for tips on sales, leads, he's someone that I followed as well.
sure.
So thank you for
And
that.
I would actually build on that to say to anybody who is watching, not to be afraid to transition into charging people for things, so long as you've delivered results before, right? People will pay for value. So if you have definitively created value, meaning you've delivered a tangible result, feel free to charge for it next time. It People expect it. No one thinks, and nothing is free, and we all know that.
Right. And yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So thank you for sharing that with us. Would you be open to sharing with one of possibly a project that you're currently working on or your most recent accomplishment?
Absolutely. Tons of projects, life of a CEO, lots of projects going on all the time. One of the big things that we're doing right now is developing AI property acquisition software. So, what that means is we want to leverage AI to find investment opportunities based on specific criteria. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are trying to find properties where you can put solar panels. You want to find apartment buildings that have flat roofs where you can put solar panels in the Pacific Northwest, for example. We want to use AI to find those buildings that fit that specific criteria, then find the owners of those buildings, reach out to the owners of those buildings with an offer to purchase, interact with that owner, basically walk them through that process, and do a little bit of negotiating potentially until there's an agreed upon price, and then reach out to the broker to actually set up the transaction or the purchase of that property. So kind of using AI to lead that entire acquisitions process for commercial real estate, all the way from deal sourcing into early negotiations and potentially getting some documents signed. So that's a huge project that we're working on right now with the company. It's pretty exciting.
No, that sounds very exciting. And that's something that's launching very soon.
In the next few quarters, yeah.
Okay, pretty cool. And could you tell us a little bit more about how you guys, when it comes to that tool, you're saying that tool is going to serve people who's looking to purchase a building? Is that kind of what I heard?
Yeah, yep. So the private equity firms that we currently serve who look for investors, they also kind of want an edge. It's like any other field. You can think of it almost like at the stock, trading stocks. People are always looking for some kind of edge that they can have over the market, right? Like how can I buy the be the first one to purchase, or how can I get the news first? And so it's the same thing when it comes to buying real estate. Everyone wants an edge. How can I find deals faster? How can I get deals that no one knows about? How can I get off market properties? How can I negotiate faster? And so we're creating tools to answer those questions and to solve those problems for real estate investors. Yeah.
Understood. And then can you also share with us when it what are some of the tools that when it comes to these tools and it comes to, that personal touch, is this tool going to assist with making sure that you're keeping that personal touch or with that reach out? Hopefully that question makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah. So this is actually something that a lot of people are concerned about when they come to us, because taking a step back and looking at the market that we serve the most, which is direct outreach to potential investors, right? People who are going to put large sums of money into private real estate investment opportunities. That's always been at one time, it was a completely like a good old boys club, right? You had to just know someone who knew someone, and we were all buddies. So we all kind of did this thing together. And over the last, 10 or 15 years, it's kind of scaled up to something bigger than that, but it's still very much a relationship based business. So our clients are always concerned about, if we introduce AI into this interaction, is it going to reflect my personality? Is it going to come with a whole, different personality? How's it going to reflect our brand? Is it going to continue to be able to build rapport and relationships? And the answer is yes and no. Yes, in that we program the AI to reflect your brand and even your personality, the personality that we give it, right? And so that's something that to keep in mind for any AI tool. It will have the personality of the person who created it, unless you tell it otherwise. So we don't give it my personality. We give it the personality of the company or the investor relations agent that's going to be interacting. However, I've been in the AI business for over 15 years, and something have always said is that we don't let AI replace human interaction. Use it to augment human interaction. People still want to pick up the phone and be able to talk to a person if necessary, especially when we talk about, someone's going to wire you $200,000. There should be a human being that they can talk to at some point, right? It's not $20, it's $200,000. There needs to be a human being in the mix where, they can pick up the phone and talk to them. So really, a huge thing that we use AI for is to help the human being stay on top of a large volume of investors and where they are kind of in their journey, and to take care of some of the more basic tasks, right, that are not necessarily used for building rapport. But we always encourage all of our clients, you need to have an investor relations team in place that can also supplement what the AI is doing to deliver that personal touch above and beyond. And I think that's going to be even more important over the next few years as AI continues to explode. Fewer humans will be involved, and therefore the value of human contact will be a lot higher. So it becomes kind of a unique sales proposition that we still have people working here.
No, and I agree with you 100%. I get very aggravated when, there's not that personal touch, or I can't just pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, like I need help." So I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
understand where you're coming from with that.
So a funny story about that too, right? I think there are certain interactions where a human should be involved and you should not use AI at all, right? For example, when someone is frustrated about something, they don't want to talk to your AI chatbot, right? They want to talk to a human being who's going to immediately empathize with them and solve their problem. I called CVS to get my son's asthma prescription filled the other day, and they didn't have the medicine, and I couldn't find a human being to talk to. Like, it would not transfer me to a human being, and I almost lost it. Like, this is a serious problem. This is a life or death thing. I don't want to talk to a robot.
No, that's Very, very true. My most recent AI experience isn't as severe, but I had the reason why we went from another podcast server to this one, so this was actually our first time using this one, was because of the whole AI, and I couldn't get in contact with anyone, and I didn't want to wait. So I am deciding to use this one. So hopefully this one works out. But no, I totally made the switch because of that. So it can get very frustrating, but no, I
Yep.
get it. And then, what are some of the current challenges that you see right now when it comes to, using AI for investor personalization?
Yeah, there's a thin line between helpful and creepy. So, thanks to the power of AI and a lot of the different tools out there, there's some pretty cool ones that help with data augmentation, which basically means if I know your email address, I can use that email address to go sleuth the internet and find out other things about you. That would in turn make my communication with you more personal, right? I can find out, do you have children? Are you pregnant? What school did you go to? Do we have the same alma mater? All this stuff, right? That's awesome because it allows me to personalize my messaging. However, if Shatoya had never told me what school she went to, and all of a sudden I show up and I'm like, oh, you went to Brown? Awesome. Me too. That's creepy, right? Like, so we have to, we're always tweaking things to toe that line between how can we use the information available to us to make messages personal and to make advertisements resonate and you know be effective without crossing that line to feel like, oh man, big brother is just in my business, we don't want to give investors that feeling either.
No, that's so true. Oh, no, that's something to really think about because someone reached out to me and told me what high school I went to. That might be kind of weird. We've never had a
A little
conversation
bit,
before.
a little bit,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
totally. And then so, what are some ways that when, because the software for AI is such, it's a great resource, but what are some ways that, an investor could start using AI that's possibly not done it in the past?
Great question. So something AI is very, very good at is data analytics. So most investors have some way that they source their opportunities, right? Either, you have some sort of lead gen company you're working with, or you have like online tools that will give you lists of potential investment properties. I encourage people to start to leverage AI to use to analyze that data versus market trend data that you can also just get online from, a Redfin or a Clexi or any of these other kind of services. And that way, AI can actually help you pick out the winners before you even make an offer. You don't need to type everything into a spreadsheet and spend hours on analysis anymore. You give AI kind of your background criteria, and it can analyze the current opportunities that you have available against the current market trends and kind of tell you, hey, these kind of properties tend to excel. Like, look at this one more closely, or all of these are a waste of time. Find a new batch. It'll be able to give you that data very quickly.
Got it. And then when it comes to these tools, are these tools good for someone that's possibly just getting started in becoming an investor or someone that has years of experience? Like who would you recommend this tool for?
Yeah, both. Totally both. If you're, I mean, AI doesn't, it's pretty agnostic either way. It doesn't discriminate against any experience as long as you know as long as you're comparing apples to apples from a data perspective, right? So if you're just getting started and you're saying, okay, I want to look at single family homes, then you need to understand how to pull the single family data, right, from anywhere. I mean, it can be from Zillow, Redfin, whatever. You just need market trend data to use in to compare your potential properties to, right? You need the market trend data that fits your criteria, and then a list of properties that could possibly fit that buy box. And the cool thing is you can even use AI to help you compile that list of properties. AI can go out onto Zillow, pull every for sale by owner. You can go out onto PropStream and pull every mortgage delinquent property and come make a list for you and then run the comparison for you as well. So it can work at all levels.
That's good to know. And then for the pricing, I don't know if that's something that you're saying this is a couple quarters away, but is it something that you could kind of share with us of like what that look like to work with you?
Oh, so for our acquisitions tool, I don't have any pricing on that on that yet. Typically, what we like to do is do some sort of structure for equity in the project. So a lot of our higher level kind of enterprise level tools, the way we'll structure those opportunities is we'll, form a partnership with that investor, and we'll get some kind of, percentage of the company, or of the deal for however it is that we assist.
Understood. No, and I'm just curious, just to make sure that that if
Yeah, yeah.
someone is possibly interested in working with you, they are your correct audience. Are there any other digital tools that you could possibly share with us that you could assist with investors?
Yeah, so there's a few things. If you are an investor looking to find other investors, there's some really good communities out there. There are also some cool tools. Like there's a platform called TribeVest, which is really good for pooling people together to buy properties. Very, very cost effective. This is not even an AI tool. It's more of a real estate investment. And that doesn't even need to be real estate, more of an investment tool, a group investment tool. And obviously, when it comes to leveraging AI, everyone needs to be very, 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 very familiar with ChatGPT. Like, learn how to master it. There's a tool out there that's called Prompt Genie. I believe it's promptgenie.ai. I have no affiliation with these people, but the tool is really good in helping you to master ChatGPT. It will help you speak to ChatGPT in a way that will get you the results that you want to get. OpenAI also has a really cool tool out now called Operator, which is more of an AI agent that can go out on the internet and go do things for you, as opposed to basic chat GPT, which is more just, text based or generative AI, they call it. So that's the big thing I would say. Master these free level tools that are available, because as AI becomes more and more involved in our lives, if we don't have this kind of basic level of skill, then whatever you're doing, you'll be behind, whether that's in your personal life or company or whatever. If you don't have that basic layer of skill, it's kind of like when everybody was using a typewriter and computers came out, and it's like, man, you need to learn how to open Microsoft Word. And at the very least, you got to know how to open Microsoft Word and like print your document. So that's where we're at with AI right now. Learn how to speak to ChatGPT as a baseline.
Understood. And you said that that tool was called Genie Operator?
Prompt Genie.
Prompt Genie. And so pretty
Yeah.
much what you would do is you would go into the software and you would say exactly what you're looking for, and then they're going to prompt out how to talk to ChatGPT.
Yep, exactly. So essentially, it's really cool. You could say, "Hey, I want AI to help me write a research paper about podcasting," for example. And then Prompt Genie is going to take your request and formulate a prompt for you to paste into ChatGPT that's going to deliver the result that you want. Because 90% of using AI is understanding how to talk to it, which is prompting, is how you speak to AI. And most of the time, that's what people are bad at. So Prompt Genie helps you be good at it really quickly.
No, and it's true. No, that's so true. And so when it comes to, what's one piece of advice that you would give to someone that's possibly looking to get into the industry when it comes to becoming, within the tech industry or IT industry?
Learn to code. I know coding is becoming less popular with AI because AI can code for you. And I totally get it. I use AI to code all the time. But you should learn how computers work, how code works. Each coding language is slightly different, but having a general understanding of how programmatic languages, work will help you in any endeavor that you're doing, because it's cool to have ChatGPT write all of your code for your application, but if something ever breaks with it, or there's some minute detail, it's much more difficult for you to fix if you don't even know where to start, right? If it's totally foreign to you, it's going to be much more difficult for you to fix and even customize. So coding is a skill that I think anybody kind of in this software or tech space should have. Granted, there are other aspects of tech that don't involve coding, but they kind of all do at some level. You need to have a basic understanding of how programming works. So that would be my one recommendation. Go learn for free at YouTube University. Don't pay anybody to teach you anything. Just go on YouTube and figure it out. You'll be all right.
Yeah, no. And I think that's with anything. We don't want to trust ChatGPT 100%. So, ChatGPT makes errors. And if you're already a professional and you're just using it as a resource, you're not going to have that issue because you already have an idea of what is it doing. And so Hollis, when it comes to tech, how are you currently staying ahead with technology?
It's hard. I doubt that I'm staying ahead. Maybe like treading water. AI technology evolves so quickly, especially right now. We're in the boom, right? So every morning you wake up and you've got a new AI tool being released, or some new startup that popped up, or closed down. So there's a few journals that I subscribe to. I still read the Wall Street Journal, Wired magazine. I watch, actually, Robinhood has a good, which is a stock trading platform, has a good little like tech review section that they put out as well. And the other part of it is being involved in tech communities. So whether that's, Facebook groups or other communities that you can be a part of, there's always someone else who's going to have access to a different resource than you, or have read a different article than you. So opening up those dialogues amongst, your colleagues and peers is a great way to do it. I know it helps me. I have friends who always, show up with a different tool every time I talk to them. They've got something different, and I've got something different that we can kind of share with one another.
Oh, it's true. It's so true. It's so important. I think also for myself, this podcast, talking to people like you helps me stay up to date with technology, which that's one thing I do love about having a podcast like this one. When it comes to your recommendations for books, is there any current books that you're currently reading or a book that you would recommend to us?
Yes. I have a few here. I have a few. So I recommend everyone read Alex Hormozy's two books, $100 Million Offers, $100 Million Leads. 10X is Easier Than 2X is a great book. The 4 Hour Work Week is a great book. However, my top recommendation, if we're talking about operating a company, CEO, is Traction, the whole EOS series, because that gives you clarity for all the other things in the company, and helps you from getting the shiny object syndrome and bouncing all over the place. I really, really like Traction. We run our business on EOS, and I kind of preach the gospel anywhere I go. I'm sure I have a few more in the back of my mind, but those are the ones that kind of come to mind right now.
Yeah, and I actually agree with you. EOS, Traction, I've read all the books as well. We had our team currently read What the Heck is EOS? And so I think it's a good read for our team, which, and they seem to enjoy it as well. Just to have a full understanding of the reasons why we're doing the things we're doing.
Yes.
And then, if our listeners are possibly looking to work with you, how do people get in contact with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, William Hollis, or if you search REI Hollis on LinkedIn, I'll pop up as well. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me. I respond to just about every DM that I get, so hit me up.
Yes. No, LinkedIn is awesome for that reason. And then Hollis, is there anything else that you'd like to possibly share with us today?
Yeah, I mean, most podcasts I go on, I kind of leave everyone with this sentiment of, don't be afraid to set really big goals for yourself. Owning a business is hard, starting a business is hard, and not starting a business is hard, and not owning a business is also hard. So it's all going to be hard. Just pick which hard you want in your life, and, set the big goals, reach for the stars and grab the moon, I always say, because you didn't get the stars, but you got the moon, which is pretty good. So if you set big goals, you'll accomplish big things.
Yes, I think that's super, super important. And then Hollis, today was such a pleasure. I love getting to know you a little bit better, and you have an amazing day.
Thank you.